Hi, welcome back to Football and High Heels Present. I'm Sammy, back to talk to you about what everybody in America and, let's face it, the entire world is talking about, the Olympics. I'm back here with Katrina and Colleen. Welcome back, ladies. It's been crazy, hasn't it?
Yeah.
It's been a whirlwind, yeah.
Where do we begin? I don't even know where to begin because there's so much that's going on. First of all, before we get to the gymnastics, I want to say Michael Phelps, 21 gold medals. Is it Katie Ledecky? I don't know if I'm saying. Yes. She is absolutely incredible, and seeing her get her medal last night, she's crying, which made me cry, and there's just something so endearing about her. And Katrina, I don't know if you heard this, but it seems like Dana Vollmer is, they're alluding to her being on Dancing with the Stars that season. Have you heard anything about that yet?
The only one I've heard is Simone. Apparently, Allie is trying to convince Simone to do it, and yeah.
Simone has said she doesn't really want to. She said that in an interview. It was like a Facebook Live thing with the team, and someone had asked, like in the live questions, who's going to be the next one to do Dancing with the Stars? And Allie was like, Simone, and Simone's like, not really my thing. But Lori was making some facial expressions.
I think if they offer them,
Lori.
I think it'll come down to money. I really do.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I think it's also going to come down to whether they want to continue competing. I mean, I think Lori's going to continue at least through 2020. And I know Simone has said that she wants to take some time off to, like, be a regular human being. But she's not opposed to coming back post-Rio, which would be so exciting.
Oh, yeah, definitely. But, we got time. Let's get through this Olympics first. And now let's discuss. Simone is basically taking over the Olympics for gymnastics, women's gymnastics. I mean, she's in almost everything except uneven bars, right?
Mm-hmm. And, I mean, that's not a shock. She wasn't going to make the bars final unless something major happened. But, yeah, Simone is number one on all-round vault, beam, and floor by several tenths. I mean, by points in all-round. She's a 1.5 over Allie Raceman coming into all-round. She's like 4 or 5 tenths ahead of the North Korean on vault, Hong Eun-jong. And then on beam, she got a 15.733. So she's like 5 tenths ahead of Lori on beam and 5 tenths ahead of Allie on floor. So she will have to make major mistakes in all-round and team finals, or all-round and event finals to not win all 4 golds. 4.
Oh, yeah. It's going to take, like, something epic failure for her not to make it, because I've seen her. I saw her do everything, and she is absolutely amazing. I just sit there in shock, and I'm like, I think I didn't get much sleep watching it because NBC airs it so late at night, and I have to be up at 5 for my other job. I'm there like, I can't stop watching those. Unfortunately, my boss doesn't accept watching the Olympics as an excuse for being late for work. We got to work on that. I know!
I think the only thing that worries me is she did all-round in qualifications, she did all-round in team finals, she's doing all-round tomorrow. It's a long competition. It's hard on your body. It's hard on your, mental status. So I think exhaustion sort of sets in. She does only have 1 final each day for event finals, so she'll get a little bit of a rest in between. But it's still a lot. I think if anyone can do it, it is going to be Simone. But it's a long... I mean, they've been there for 2 weeks already. And it's, they had the 10-day camp beforehand. So she hasn't been home in like 5 weeks. So it's been a long 5 weeks. And it's... I can't imagine. I would just be tired. I would be like Allie and be like, I need a nap.
Yeah, pretty much me too. I'm like that when I work long days, 5 days in a row, let alone 5 weeks. I'd be like, all right, everyone go away, leave me alone.
I'm like that after 1 day, let alone 5 days. Something I need a nap. So, although I'm not an elite athlete, so there's my excuse.
Yeah, same here. Me neither.
mentioned something on the broadcast for the men's all around about how, and they're longer because it's a freaking event, so, like all around competition that it's just, I can't imagine, like
It's, yeah.
Chris Brooks is probably exhausted.
Oh,
Yeah,
boy.
and Sam, he competed all around, and then he did 4 events for team finals, and it's just, it's exhausting. Because
I can't even
even
begin to imagine.
even like their days between competition, like the men started on Saturday, and then the women competed Sunday, and then men did team final on Monday, and women did team final last night. But when they have their day off from competition, they're still training. They're in the gym training, you know? So it's not like they really get a rest.
Yeah, and that's what worries me. I mean, I know they're used to it. I know their bodies are used to it, but your body also needs to rest at some point, too. So I think they should take up on Ellie's suggestion of nap time at some point so they don't overexhaust themselves or, God forbid, get hurt.
Afternoon siesta.
Yes.
Or whatever the Portuguese word for siesta is, since they're in Rio.
Yes. Actually, my brother and his
They
wife
did,
are in
you know,
Portugal now.
Nice.
I know, I'm jealous.
You know, for 2015 World, basically Simone staged a revolt and said we need a day off.
Yeah, she
You know,
and her coach Amy. And
Was
they
it
did. They got half a day off.
Well, still, yeah, but the fact that Simone led this revolt and said we need a day off, hilarious.
Well, that's not like completely unheard of. After the London, John Getter, who is Jordan Weaver's coach, had said the same thing. He was like, "Listen, you can schedule a practice. Jordan won't be there because she needs a rest." Yeah. And the rest of the team sort of followed. And same thing, Marta gave them like half a day off. And very surprising, after qualifications, was it qualifications or podium training, that Marta Crowley did an interview with Sam Pejic for NBCOlympics.com and confirmed that the girls were getting like an entire day off.
That was after qualifications.
That was after qualifications, yeah. So she was like, I was really, really happy with that, so they get the day off. Although I think they still did an afternoon workout the next day. They probably got bored.
Probably, yeah. I know I would get bored if I had a day off. Even when I have a day off now, I'm like, I don't know what to do with myself. I'm bored, so I just try to find something to do work-related. I don't know. I'm weird like that.
And apparently they're not supposed to leave like the Olympic Village for athlete safety. Like it hasn't been like that really in other Olympic cities. But Rio is very unstable. Brazil as a whole is unstable. So they've sort of said, don't leave the athletes village, don't leave the Olympic Village, because we can't guarantee your safety.
That's scary.
Yeah, did you see the journalist bus today?
Did you see what, honey?
So the journalist bus, they had this bus that was carrying a bunch of journalists, and it got hit with projectiles.
Oh my God.
What? That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's so scary.
I know.
And my friend who's working the equestrian event for Eventing Nation, there was a bullet hole. Somebody shot a bullet through their media tent.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Jeez. Oh my God. Is your friend okay?
Yeah, she wasn't there. She was actually doing like press write-ups, so she wasn't in.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah.
So if we want to get back to a little bit qualifications and team finals, I know we said that Simone is #1 everywhere but bars, but not a huge surprise, but a little bit of a surprise. Madison Koshin is going into event finals ranked #1 on bars. She's one of the 4 reigning world bars champions. And oh my gosh, she has been completely doing her job. Her bar routines have just been getting better and better each day, each competition, and it's just, oh my God, it's so pretty to watch. And this is the first time in like Olympic history that a country has gone into team all-around and event finals ranked #1 on every event, which is what the United States has done. And they are also ranked, Gabby is ranked #3 on bars, Lori is 2nd on beam, and Allie is 2nd on floor. So each of them has also qualified themselves for an individual event final. So
That's
it's going to be
incredible.
it's going to be such an exciting week, like continuing for
I
gymnastics.
can't wait. I am so, so excited. It's just now. What do we think about Ali and Simone making it for all arounds? Is anyone surprised by that? I know Katrina, you and I have discussed this quite a bit, but we know how you feel. But let's talk about this.
I'm not surprised, but at the same time, I think the scores on, let's see, Sunday?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it was Sunday.
Were kind of a little ridiculous. Like, there were some people who were in the first session who definitely should have gotten a higher score, like Nina de Waal from Belgium should have gotten a much higher score, but because she's in the first session, she kind of got screwed, and so the scores just, I don't know, were a little ridiculous by the time the USA hit.
I mean, yes and no. They were, I think Nina, I think she would have been on the bubble for a bar final. I mean, Fan Yulin from China, who was one of the reigning world champions, didn't make the bar final. I mean, her bar routine kind of blowed, but whatever. I mean, she had horrible form. She missed some handstands. She missed a connection. But there were people, like, going insane in the gymternet world saying she should have made it. It was awful. The scoring was horrible. But you know what? Her routine, like, there were also people who were, judges saying, no, listen, that was a legit score for that routine. I mean, she still scored like a 15-3.
Yeah.
So
the one I have an issue
I would have put Nina in over Fan.
Yeah.
Yulin, or however you say her name. I don't know the Asian culture with names. It's bad.
The one issue I have an issue with is it Daria? The other Russian that's in the bar final.
Oh, Spiridonova, yeah.
The fact that she got credit for a connection she didn't do.
She didn't do. Yeah.
And that kind of really, guys?
Yeah, that is.
Yeah, I got a bit issue with that too.
And she missed it again in team finals.
Oh, she did.
She did. And meanwhile, Aliyah Mustafina is busting her butt and has busted her butt for the past 6 years for this team, and her old coach is the team coach for Brazil, and he did an interview after team finals saying that Aliyah had called him back after Worlds and had considered retiring then, and he was like, you've been training for 3 years, it would be stupid to retire now. But she was like, I'm done. And she's already said she's done after Rio. And she competed all around in qualifications. They had her compete all around in team final again. And the woman looks tired.
Oh, she looks.
She
looks so tired in Glasgow too. I mean, it was.
Yeah, and she's like, I'm over that. She's completely over it. I wouldn't be surprised to see her medal in all-round or bar finals. I mean, she's number 2 going into bars, and she and Maddie Koshin had the highest bar score in team finals. They tied at a 15.933, and I would love to see them go 1-2. I know they can't tie because the only way they could tie is if they're.
Everything is the same.
Yes, everything is the same. But Aliyah has higher start value, but Maddie gets better execution scores.
Which is the tiebreaker.
Yeah. So Maddie would win.
Makes sense.
Which I'm yay, USA. But
yeah.
But it would be cool to see Aliyah. She was the 2012 Olympic bar champion. So it would be kind of cool to see her up there again. Although I want her to get bronze in all round. Well, if she wins a medal in all round, I want it to be bronze because I want Allie to have silver. Because Allie has my heart.
Aww.
I'm completely Team Allie. A group of my friends and we say we're on Allie Island.
Oh, that's so cute.
Team Allie all the way. Allie Island, sipping our drinks and taking naps all day.
I love
Just
it.
like
That's
Allie.
awesome.
So, but
The team finals.
oh my God.
Oh
So
my
good.
god.
I'm just glad that I will say all of the teams, like they came in and they brought their A game. I think every single team did better in team finals, looked better in team finals than they did in qualifications.
Yep.
Well, USA looked the same, but yeah, everyone, yeah, they just looked amazing, and I'm so glad that like there was a real fight for silver and bronze. Like we knew USA was gonna win gold. It was like I know there were people out there being like, I wonder if they can win by 10 points, you know? And then when they were going after qualifications, they were ahead by 10 points. They were like, we were sort of just kidding. That was like rhetoric, like, and then it actually happened. And
That was incredible.
they won by over 8 points in team finals, which was the highest or largest margin of victories in 60 years. And since the new scoring system has been in place. So, big news there.
That was
I was
incredible.
impressed with the battle for, and you know, because I knew they were going to win, and so I was more impressed for the battle for silver and bronze, just because I thought that was more interesting.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
there were some funky things going on, which I think we should discuss because
freaking Japan was awesome.
Oh, I love Japan. I think that was fun, but
yeah.
Frankly think, okay, so if you didn't watch, China actually, during the first rotation, what happens in team finals is there's 3 up, 3 count, and they split. There's 2 teams on one event, and they split the rotation, basically. So the U.S. did the rotation, did great, finished. Everybody else, because vault happens so fast, everybody else still competes while vault happens, or while vault's finished, and the Chinese decided to start warming up vault, which technically they should have had a neutral team deduction, and I don't know why they didn't take it.
I don't know. I haven't seen anything about that, or so I don't know. Like when we were talking about it earlier, that was the first I had heard of it. So I don't know if they still do that. Do they?
It should be still in the code. I mean, I'd have to ask Lauren, but I'm pretty sure because she was talking about it, because it happened. So the first time it happened that I know of was 2003 Worlds, and the girls were actually doing gymnastics on the podium, which is against the rules.
Our girls?
No, the Chinese.
Oh, okay.
In Anaheim. But so the rule, as far as I know, still exists. And John Horton was confused about it and why they weren't getting, like, either
That's
talked
why
to.
I didn't hear it. I had the commentary muted.
Oh.
My bad.
I don't blame you. But yeah, I was wondering about that too, Katrina, because I thought it was a rule. I know in a lot of sports, stuff like that, you get deductions for it. Because I know in cheerleading, there's a similar rule. If something like that happens in a competitive cheerleading thing, you get the points deducted. So I'm really surprised it didn't happen in this case.
Yeah, and I guess I'll have to ask Lauren, but there's a neutral team deduction that gets deducted at the very end of the event, and so I'll have to ask Lauren if they actually took that and trying to still medaled, or if they never took it because the rule changed or what. But yeah,
I just asked someone about it, and I can look. I'll look at the team results and see if there was like a neutral deduction taken afterward. I really should have.
That's what happened in Anaheim. That's the reason the Chinese lost the medal in Anaheim.
Well, what is the neutral deduction though?
I don't know how much it is.
Yeah, because Japan, I think they were still like a point back after beam.
It's not like a full point. It
would have been closer.
Yeah.
But.
So I was kind of annoyed about that, but whatever.
But it was still good. I was surprised to see. Well, the only reason that Russia was in silver is because Mao completely imploded on floor.
Yeah.
Fell on her first pass. landed out of bounds and fell, so that's 1.3 off, and I think she lost connection. And then her last tumbling pass, chest real low, almost touched the ground on that. Some missed jumps and leaps and everything. It was a mess. I couldn't believe that. I mean, I could believe that happened, but at the same time, it was like, Chinese people, get yourself together.
I can't even imagine how that must have felt for her going through all that, just like knowing you're in the biggest competition of your life at this point and just having it completely get messed up. I felt so bad for her. My heart broke for her because I was just like, oh my God, she must be feeling so bad and so embarrassed. Everybody is watching this and this is what they're going to remember. The poor thing. I felt so bad.
Yeah, I was watching and live chatting with some people, and I had said after her fall, it was like, it looks like someone just gave her Quaaludes. Like, she went from like, and I was like, this poor kid.
I know, I felt bad. And she's fairly young too, right?
It was her, I mean, I think it was one of her first international competitions, if not her first.
Yeah, I believe so.
And was she the alternate? Was she who replaced, was it her or was it?
It was,
Tan, I can't pronounce the last name.
No, who was it? Was it?
Yashin? Was it Tan?
Yeah. Tan was the original alternate. And
Okay.
then I forgot who got sick. Well, they were still in Japan.
Mm-hmm. I do not see a neutral deduction score from China.
Interesting.
That is interesting, yeah. You would think in something as big and important as the Olympics, I would have something like that.
Unless, I mean, I can do some math real quick and see what happens, but I'm pretty sure this was a no neutral deduction.
Huh. I mean, I'll have to ask Lauren or Uncle Tim about that. Because they would know.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so many other things that were going on. I heard someone even got expelled from the Olympics for partying. You would know better than to do that. Oh, go ahead.
No neutral deduction.
It's not the first time he's gotten in trouble. He has a bit of a temper, and he has for years. And he needs help. So that's the most I want to put out there. He needs help, and I'm not discounting it.
That is what the Dutch Federation said. They were like, leave, go get help, go to rehab. It wasn't like you're done. It was like, you need help. This is why we're not letting you compete.
So I guess I should explain. Yuri Van Gelder, is that right? That's how I pronounce his last name. Was expelled for drinking. And the official, well, the Dutch Federation, what they said was something about team values, basically. But it was because he was drinking and partying. And he has a history of drug use.
He also left the Olympic Village to go do this.
Oh, I didn't know it was
Yeah, that's in the newest version of this saga, after they released that he was suing the Dutch Federation
for something that was his own fault.
Yes, suing them, and he's still in the Netherlands, back in the Netherlands, still training, hoping to come back for event finals because he made the ring final.
What part of expelled does he not understand?
That because he violated the team rule of not leaving the Olympic Village.
Okay.
And he had apparently missed a practice, and no one saw him until like 3 or 4 p.m. the next day.
Ooh.
And they were like, "Where were you?" So
I didn't know part of the story.
Yeah, I read one of the news releases, and it was like, "Ooh, this guy is okay then."
Yeah.
So yeah, it's
he has had issues. He was originally, I forgot what year it was, but he was suspended for he was caught doing crack cocaine, and his coach had died like, I don't know what, a month before that, and so that's what his reasoning was for doing it.
Like downward spiral.
Yeah. I mean, I feel bad for the guy because he does need help, and addiction is a disease, but
yeah,
you just don't go do that. Like, it's not. there are ways to get alcohol in the Olympic Village. Like,
Yeah.
don't leave.
Now, are they not allowed to drink at all, or are they not allowed to drink outside the village and leave the village? That's where I was getting confused, because I thought they weren't allowed to drink or party at all.
Well, I mean, you're allowed to, have, especially if you're of drinking age, which all of the male gymnasts are. I think their thing was, he left the Olympic Village, he missed a practice, he didn't uphold team standards, and he drank to excess. It wasn't like celebratory stuff, it was going out and getting completely wasted. So, it's just a mess.
It's sad because he's throwing everything away.
Well, yeah, that's the other thing. Like, he could medal on rings.
He could. He would need to have the best day of his life.
Oh, yeah.
He was 7th or 8th going into ring finals. Speaking of ring finals, that means 2 of the reserve athletes are going to be called up for rings because the Frenchman Samir Said, who had the really disgusting leg break, which we all saw live. Well, some of us saw live,
yeah,
because we were watching the live stream. And my husband literally almost threw up. It was awful.
Yeah.
He had also made the ring final. He was in 6th place. And obviously, he has to pull out of the final.
It's so heartbreaking.
Yeah. But he did say he had surgery and has everything back in place where it should be. He has said he's looking forward to resuming training as soon as he can walk again. And he's staying in Rio to support his team and teammates. He has some other teammates who've made some finals. I think another Frenchman made the ring final as well. So he's staying to support his team. Another injury follow-up. Andreas Toba of Germany tore his ACL on floor in qualifying. Went on to compete on pommel horse, got the highest score for his team, so that Germany qualified to team finals. And they're calling him like the hero de Janeiro, because without his score, I mean, they didn't have another pommel horse worker. the pommel horse rotation for Germany in team finals was a little sad. Because he did not compete in team finals. Doctors would not let him. They did let him on the floor with his team, but they were like, dude, don't be dumb.
Yes.
But he did stay and was on the floor for team finals, and I think is staying with his team through the end of the week as well. And then going back. I mean, you don't have to have surgery on the ACL right away. They just have him like braced and on crutches, so that he doesn't do any further damage.
Poor guy. Still, I haven't had it done, but I know people that have that torn, and it's supposed to be really painful. And
yeah,
you got to take care of that too, because if you don't, it can cause a lot of long-term damage.
Oh yes. So, but yeah, the men's team finals were almost, I think, maybe more thrilling than the women's team finals. It really came down to it between Japan and Russia, and it was really exciting for Russia. It was their first men's team medal since 1996.
No, they medaled in Sydney.
Did they medal in Sydney? Then it was, okay, their first, still 16 years, not 20. But first one since then, and both men and women Russian gymnastics teams won silver, so that was really exciting. And it was just really nice to see teams so excited to have a silver medal, because China looked pissed off that they got bronze. It was awful.
It was terrible.
And both the women and men of Russia were like, yes! And they took really cute pictures and put them all over social media of their silver medals together. It was adorable.
I loved it. I was watching the picture. I think I was looking at the one that you posted, Colleen, and I was just like, oh, they're so cute. And just seeing that, how grateful they are to have that win. It's like some people are like, they're not happy unless they're number one, but they were just so happy to have placed that. It just completely melted my heart, and I love seeing reactions like that. And, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So happy for them.
I do think part of the issue with China, the Chinese men looking pissed, is that it was Japan that won. And I know, it's dumb, but there is
China got some huge gifts, especially on P-bars. I mean, they were getting 16s when they should have had like 6 tenth deductions on their landings. It was ridiculous. Let's be real. Like, they were lucky to get that bronze.
They were, but
for as much crap as people were giving judges for not showing the Chinese women love, the men made up for that because they got so many gifts. It was like, here, have this, have the medal on a silver platter.
Yeah.
Because I kind of think Great Britain deserved it more than China.
I think so too.
And our poor men. I mean, I was so, oh my gosh, I was so proud of our USA men. So proud. Because they had an uphill battle. I was a little shocked at how shaky floor was. A little annoyed, especially after how well they did in qualifications. They basically just need a complete overhaul for the men's program. Like, I kind of hope that Marta is going to retire and then like consult for the men's team because they need something. They need better coaching, better selection process, psychological evaluations. Like, not like in a bad way, but like they need someone in there to be like, don't give your all in qualifications. Give just enough to get in and give your all in team finals because they looked.
How do you put it nicely?
Thought for you. They people are wondering so Brazil's head coach is Alia Mustafa's former coach. Mm-hmm. He has said that he's leaving Brazil.
Yeah, but he's not really a men's coach, is he?
He used to.
Really?
He coached both teams in Sydney.
That's right. You're right. She's right. That's true. I forgot about that.
So, and that's my question. Why in the world is he leaving Brazil? Brazil's had their best results ever.
Because he said this in his interview. He actually, instead of working with the gymnasts, he worked with their coaches to teach the coaches how to coach because they had a Brazilian coach, or they had another Russian coach before Alexandrov, and when he left, because Brazil's like social and political structure were so unstable, it was like there's no point for me to be here. It's not like a productive place for me financially. So after that first Russian coach left, whatever he had built up with the gymnasts crumbled because the coaches didn't know how to continue coaching. So Alexandrov, and that's why he wasn't on the floor for the women in qualifications and team finals. He was up in the stands, and he said it was important for those coaches to have that experience on the Olympic floor because he's not going to be there. And he said he's leaving for the same reason because Brazil is just so unstable that it's not really safe for him to be there. So, and he said Russia's not going to hire him back. So he's coming to the United States, and I think he could be a really good asset. I think Mark Williams, who is the new men's head coach, and he's the University of Oklahoma coach, I think he's going to be really great for the men because I think they did almost as best as they could in the team finals. They would have had to have like a day like they had in prelims and have everyone else mess up around them to still make the podium, I think, because they still have some work to do, especially on pommel horse.
Well, and I think
they're like that far behind.
I think another reason is that Mark psychologically coaches differently than Kevin Pacheco. And I think you saw that in London with their implosion in team finals. Kevin, from what I've heard, Kevin just was not supportive and not like helpful in any way. Like he completely. So if you go back and watch Sam's routine from like let's say last year, he kept missing these release skills, and Mark got him and was like, wait a minute, this isn't working. Let's take it out. Let's rework your routine. Yeah. And now Sam is so much stable on.
And he made the high bar final.
Yeah.
And he scored like a 15-7 or something, or in a all-around final to come back from like he was in like 14th place.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about that another day. But
so much to talk about. I feel like we should talk about this all day because there's so much that's going on.
There is so much. But yeah, I think Mark Williams has been really good, and his approach is a lot more like, because they really want to focus on team. Like the United States women have said their main focus is team. They do everything team oriented. That's why Gabby made the team over other people, because that would give the team the highest score. There were other people who they could have put in place of Gabby on the women's team who could get individual medals, but they wouldn't contribute as much to the team score. So for the women, it's been all about team. And I think the men are finally starting to get there with that. And I think having an NCAA coach is going to really help, because in college gymnastics, team is the priority. It's like, yeah, there's going to be individual medalists at nationals, but they don't care.
Yeah.
The team is first and foremost. So I really hope the good fit.
I kind of want to go to Oklahoma and go train with John and Chris. And I think having that stability of those two older guys there, I think, would help it a little bit too.
I think Chris still needs a little bit more stability.
Yeah, I think that's his nature.
He had paced a little in team finals. Like he looked really nervous. Like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But again, it was his first like big international competition. He's forever a bridesmaid, or
I think that was part
groomsman? Of it. Would he be forever a groomsman since he's
bridesman, groomsman?
Sure, why not?
I just make it up as we go along, but yeah, I see what you're saying with that, and this is his first big one, and I think even though he was nervous, I think for the first time out, he did very well, and we should be very proud of him, and he should be very proud of himself for going out there and doing.
Definitely.
Yeah, and he's like the best team captain they could have had, because if you go back and watch All Around today, you can hear him cheering for Sam. And it's
like across the floor.
Yeah,
that is awesome.
Because they were in different rotations. So Sam started on pommel horse and Chris started on rings. So like at one point they were literally like pommel horse and high bar are like on opposite sides of the arena. And he's like, it was hilarious.
I love it. That is great. It shows what kind of person he is, too. And that's the kind of person you want on teams like this. You don't want someone that's all about themselves. You want someone that's genuinely going to cheer you on and support you. And I love him.
He was like that even as an alternate, like at in London and in like other worlds and everything, where he's like in the audience, like cheering everyone. You can like hear his voice over everyone else.
You could hear it in London. It was hilarious because the announcers, like, I was watching the British stream and the announcers made some comment about it.
They're like, someone's cheering for the Americans.
Yeah. It was really
Well, he can cheer for me whenever he wants. I have no problem with that whatsoever.
Oh, Chris.
I know, Chris. But getting back to some of the other stuff that's going on, let's talk about the Final Five, the name that our five ladies chose in honor of Marta, who's retiring.
Guys, what is that thing? I don't remember who says it. Maybe it's is it Ricky Bobby or is it the anchor man who's like, I'm in a glass case of emotion? That's what I felt like. I refuse to believe that Marta Crowley is actually retiring. I refuse. It makes me too sad.
You know, I think
I love Marta.
She's still going to be involved and live on the freaking training center. Like, how is she not going to, like, walk down the, like, path to the gym?
I know. It's just
No, but it's not the
to
same.
not see her at like every competition, and it's just so sad. And like how emotional and how like introspective she's been about this, because she's not one like to be super emotional. I got the opportunity when I was really little. I was like 10 to work out with the Carolis at one of their gymnastics camps, and Bella is, bigger than life, and you're like, oh, Bella, notice me. Bella, look, here I am. But when it comes to Marta, like, she's definitely behind the scenes, but it's like when she coaches you, you're like, am I good enough? Did I do enough? And it, like, it's just going to be so weird to not, like, really have that feeling. Because even now as a spectator, like, yeah. I'm like, am I a good enough, like, support for USA for Marta? Like, the respect that these girls, like, give her is just beyond anything. Like, I'm going to cry because it makes me so sad thinking about it.
You make me cry now, too, This is not waterproof makeup, just so you know. I learned that at my brother's wedding.
Yeah, when they said Final Five, at first I was like, that's a stupid name.
That's what I said, too.
I was like, what does that even mean? And then we were sort of like, oh, okay, well, they're the Final Five. Like, this is the last time there's going to be a team of 5 at the Olympics, so they're the Final Five. And then they went on, they were like, no, it's, we're Marta's Final Five. This is Marta's last Olympics. And it was just like,
yeah, exactly.
It's like, I probably saw I posted on Facebook. It was like, be right back. I'm crying forever because I just don't think it's going to be the same.
It's not. I think the U.S. program is definitely. It's not going to like crumble. There are a bunch of people on Tumblr who were like, it's going to disintegrate in 3 years because no one can. I'm like, no.
No.
So Colleen and I are both friends with Lauren Hopkins, who runs the Ginter.net. And
she's like, stop being dumb.
Has the patience of a saint because she puts up with so much crap.
Yeah.
I just don't know how she does it, like, not get all pissed off and ignore people. And she's like, yeah, no, guys, the system is in place. It's been in place for
16 years. Yeah.
It's not going.
And, I know everyone thinks that Valerie Lukin is like front runner. I read something recently that said it's sort of come down to between Valerie and Mihai.
It's Valerie.
Oh, that's interesting.
And I just wouldn't be surprised. Valerie has done so much stuff with the developmental camps and the Hopes and Tops program, and I know they've said he loves that. He loves working with the little kids and like seeing the future. I just don't know. I kind of want someone like Steve Rybacki who doesn't have any elites competing. I don't really like Steve Rybacki. I'm sorry if you're watching, Steve.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe.
Well, okay, so
I would love for Rhonda to take over, but she's already it's already been set. Rhonda is not taking over. She's staying, with the women's program. She doesn't want to. She does not want that stress in her life. Mihai has said that he wants it. It would be interesting if Allie continues, if Mihai gets the position, but
that's why I have issues with Mihai doing it, is because.
But he doesn't have any elites behind Allie.
That's true, but he does have some level 10s that might transition.
I don't know.
I mean, but at the same time, his wife is already coaching elite, so
Yeah. But she's a judge. Like she's judged at.
Yeah, it's judging elites already, and she judged Allie at nationals trials
or something. She judged somewhere.
Which I don't think is right, but whatever. I guess I should explain the whole Steve Rybacki thing. Colleen, you can agree with me with that. We've been around this sport long enough. Some of you may remember an athlete called Vanessa Atler who competed from 1999 until 2004, and she was the Rybacki's longtime standout gymnast. and they wouldn't change her bar routine. She asked them to change her bar routine. They would not change it and take out her move that she kept falling on, and it really kind of did a lot of mental things to her. So she left and went to Valeri. Valeri took out this routine, and she did a decent bar routine. And
then
so
she, had just on other events, but yeah.
So I have a lot of issues with Rybacky's coaching, and
yeah. I think he's probably better in like an administrative capacity than in an actual coaching capacity, which is a lot of the stuff that Marta does. But I still I have a few issues with him that I'm just not comfortable with him being in charge of the women's program. I don't think it'll be him anyways. I think he'll stay in the position he's at because I think a lot of people in USA Gymnastics sort of feel the same way.
Yeah,
I think so too.
I mean, I think it is, like, I'm 98% sure it's going to be Valeri, but I also wouldn't be shocked if it was someone like Mihai, because Mihai has said he wants it, he would at least like to be considered, because he's been a part of this program since its inception. He knows all about it.
Yeah.
And
I've done great things with pacing, too, which I think is very important to our program now, is
pacing and peaking at the right time. And if Mihai gets the position, I think Allie should just move to Texas and train with Simone and Amy, because that would just be amazing. That would make my life. Gabby can go too. Although she's been so good at Buckeye, and I think she's really happy in Ohio. So
I think she is too. Now, when are they making this announcement about who's replacing Marta? Have they said when they're going to make it, or is it just going to be?
They haven't really said. It'll probably be obviously within the next 6 months or so. I don't think they're gonna. It's not gonna be like the day after Rio. And there's after the Olympics, there's no big competitions until like American Cup in March.
Yeah.
And I don't even know if they'll announce before then.
Probably not. I wouldn't think.
They might, because if they want to start trying this system in place for 2020, where they can send 2 other girls through qualifications at Event Cup or World Cup.
A World Cup, yeah.
So I start trying to send girls, because they did send Edie in 2013 to World Cups.
Yeah, and Michaela Skinner went to a few World Cups in 2015. And did relatively well.
So I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, there are these World Cups that are coming up. The first one, November, December, and before then, and then start working into this qualification system at World Cups.
Yeah, I mean, so they might announce maybe September-ish, or they might just hold off and like sort of get the new leadership more comfortable. I don't know. Yeah. Maybe they'll take a team approach too.
You never know, but I'm excited to hear who they end up choosing. It's going to be quite interesting, and I'm curious to see how this person's training is going to be different from Marta's, or if there's going to be some similarities. It's going to be quite interesting. I'm excited to see what happens.
I think the biggest thing about it is the program itself isn't going to change. It's not going to be like, oh my gosh, this is so new, there's someone new in charge, because the program obviously has worked for 16 years, so why stray from it? They just need someone who's not 73 and tired.
Yeah, that's a nice way to put it. I understand. Speaking of night, I want not to change the subject, but I do want to get on just before we run out of time. People who can't say nice things, we all discussed this and we're all in agreement. A certain commentator, what he said about Simone. Let's discuss that, ladies.
Can I?
Al Trautwig can suck my big toe.
On him. Okay, so Al Trautwig needs to be fired. If you don't know, there is a petition to get him fired.
I signed it.
Signed it.
That if you're watching, you can look on Sammy's Facebook page. and she will have the link to sign the petition.
Down on my page too. Yeah, get him fired.
So it's on my page, but my Facebook is closed. So
yeah, he's just an awful human being. He said some awful things and gave a fake apology about how Simone's adoptive parents are not really her parents just because she calls them mom and dad, and he's several times referred to them as Simone's grandfather and his wife because it is Ron's second wife, so it wasn't Simone's mom's mom, but it shouldn't matter because Simone has known these people since she was, born. She's known Nellie her entire life. She's called Nellie mom since 2001. Maybe it was 2003. Nellie is her mom.
Yeah,
Ron is
exactly.
They adopted her. Once they signed those papers,
their mom and dad.
Her parents, like legally and any other way, they are her parents. And he said some really kind of pervy stuff before on air. Missy Marlowe, who was an elite in the late 80s, early 90s, has also said that Al Troutwig, she just doesn't like him. Missy's parents were divorced when she was very young, like 2 years old, and when she was at Olympic trials, I want to say it was for the 92 team. It might have been 88.
Well, he didn't start commentating until 93 because it was John Tesh before then.
Oh, that's right.
Well,
yeah,
then maybe, I don't think she was, well, she said that she knew Al Troutwig, though, because he had said something about how her parents were divorced since she was 2, but they're both in the arena, but because they can't stand to be near each other, one's on one side of the arena and the other's on the other side. And, her mom wrote a really angry letter to NBC and was like, why are you letting this trash, say stuff like this?
How does he even still have a job? That's what I don't understand. He's allowed to say stuff like this. It's just not right.
The way that he reacted to it, if you've read his Twitter feed, he's acting like a 12-year-old. He's engaging with these people and just basically being like, I'm better than you because I work on TV.
No,
my life is better than yours.
And it's not just on Twitter either. He's acted like this too. So I know some stories of him that people have come up to him after events, and he's been at the bar, and people have come up to him and asked him, and yeah, shocking. Well, there's a picture of, I don't know if you've seen Jessica Burns. I think it's her.
Is it the one of the terrible trio at the bar together?
Yeah. Yeah. So there is that.
But Tim Daggett is awesome. He says some really stupid stuff, but I love him.
Outside of the other two, it's fine. If you listen, he did a great interview on gymnastics.
Yes.
So listen to that. He's great.
And he's apologized for everything.
Yeah. And he has said that the producers put cards written with stuff on them to basically try to dumb it down. Doesn't need to be, but whatever, that's a different topic. But Al Troutwig has, girls have come up to him, older teens, 18, 19, have come up to him in bars, and he'd asked him just, polite questions, and he, ripped on them, called them names. It's trash.
How does he get away with all this?
I think literally
because he's a white man.
Yeah, well, that he's white now. I'm guessing it's something in his contract that he has something he's the commentator for NBC Gymnastics until 2032 or whatever, or until he dies.
Can I just say, I have a degree in broadcast journalism. I can take all of the classes for standards and procedures and broadcast ethics. NBC, hire me. I will do better than
I have the same.
Al Troutwig.
Yep, they should hire all three of them.
And I have gymnastics background. So,
it bugs me so much, and I go back and watch competitions because they're awesome, and yeah, he was stupid, back in '93, but it wasn't this bad. Like, if you go back and watch 93 Nationals, it wasn't this bad. So I don't know what happened.
I think he's trying to see about how much he can get away with
douchey.
because
He like
I think
tries
he
to
just.
create drama.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think he's trying to see how much he can get away with. I think he's like, oh, I'm getting the attention, so I'm going to see how far I can push it. But I think after this thing with Simone, there's absolutely no excuse for it.
Yeah,
And
that got so much traction.
I took it personally because I have a friend, they're three sisters that were raised by their grandparents. Absolutely amazing, amazing people that took in these girls. I won't go into the details, but these are the most amazing, well-raised, well-mannered, perfect people you could ever imagine. You know, their kids are consider me their aunt, and their family is my family, and it touched me personally. So there's absolutely no excuse for this, and I didn't really have any feelings of him before, but now I have absolutely no respect for this.
Yeah. Let's get on to happier news really
Yes.
quickly before we run out of time. I
Yeah.
want to talk about bronze medalist all-around contenders because, I mean, barring a disaster, Simone's going to take gold, Allie's going to take silver. They've
I
been
have
like
no doubt in my
so
mind.
far above the pack. There is a little bit of news. There's been a rumor floating around that Flavia Sarajeeva is going to pull out of all-around to focus on beam because she has a really good shot at a beam medal, and she's going to give her spot to Jade Barbosa, who, I mean, Flavia did make some mistakes in qualifications. She is, I will say, Flavia is to Brazil what Dominic Moceanu was to Atlanta. Like, that's how big she is. But Barbosa has been like a staple of the Brazilian team. When did she win her first world medal? I think it was 2005, 2006.
No, it was 07 because it was the same year Juan went to OSAP Worlds. Yeah.
Oh, wow. But yeah, so she's been there for a long time. She's come back from a lot of injuries, but has just always hung in there. And she was less than a tenth behind Flavia in qualifications, which was pretty insane.
I would love to see her just because of the injury she's come back from.
Yeah,
I
don't think she'll get on the podium. I think she could probably do top 10, maybe top 8 with a good performance. I think the biggest threats for the podium are going to be either Aliyah Mustafina or Seda Tut. I cannot say her last name for the life of me. Tutkalian, maybe?
I
think that too. I think so.
Yeah, that's how they're saying on the broadcast.
Yeah. Julia Steingruber of Switzerland could surprise a lot of people. She needs to hit, but she was the 2015 European, European champion in the all-round. She has an awesome vault. She could be on the vault podium as well. Her real weakness is bars, but she scores in the 14s. She's sort of like Allie, just not quite as this is going to sound so funny, not quite as clean, and not quite the difficulty that Allie has. But she could be up there. Sheng Chunsong from China, she would need a really, really good day, and she's not had one yet. I know she came in to Rio very sick, or she caught like a cold in Rio. Huh?
She got pneumonia.
Yeah, so she's been really sick and didn't have great training sessions. She's a tiny, frail human being to begin with, and she, I don't want to say she doesn't look healthy. She doesn't look well. She looks like she's been, fighting illness.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think who else might. Euthora Thor's daughter? Is that how you say her last name? She could surprise folks. She could have been top 3, but she fell on floor in qualifications.
Yeah.
And that fall, she also could have been in floor finals, which would have been so cool. Her routine is awesome. It was kind of surprising. I do too. She's so sweet. I'm trying to think who else. Oh, Rebecca Andrade.
She.
She
Yeah, I
is.
forgot about
she's
her.
in third. She's hometown girl from Brazil. She's in third, going into finals, which could be really exciting to have, a Brazilian on the podium. She would need to have the meet of her life like she did, and kind of hope that others like Mustafina make some mistakes, because Musti had the weirdest fall on beam I've ever seen, except for I think one time Shayla or someone walked off the end of the beam. But yeah, it was a really weird fall, misconnection on beam in qualification, so that brought her down real far. But yeah, Simone and Allie will be 1 and 2, barring disaster, and then there's probably 5 or 6 other girls who are really going to be fighting for bronze. Because if you look at the standings between 3rd place and I want to say 12th place, there's less than a point difference.
It's crazy.
Ooh,
Jessica Lopez, that's who I want. I just keep putting someone else in bronze position. I want J-Lo to do really well too.
Yeah, I don't know. I like her bars, but her bars have gotten worse over the last couple of years. And they've just, if you watch her pack salto, it used to be she did it with her legs together, and now she's starting to separate, and it's just really weird. So
I do her bar routine in qualifications, I felt was really pretty. I was so happy to see her finally hit, because she's had this potential. She's 29, 30, 31. She's our age.
Yeah.
And she's been around the block for a while. And just never really hits when it counts. And she finally did, and made this. She's the first Venezuelan to make a gymnastics final, and it's really exciting. So yeah, a little bit of a surprise real quickly. Claudia Fragapane of Great Britain did not make the all-round final. She had a kind of rough, Great Britain itself had a kind of rough qualifications. But I was kind of shocked that Frags didn't make all-round final. And it wasn't she wasn't 2 per country out or anything. She just didn't make the cut.
Wow.
Which is shocking.
I feel like Great Britain's had a lot of bad luck. Didn't someone get hurt in gymnastics too in the Great Britain team?
Yeah, Ellie.
Yes, Ellie.
She'll be competing in all round.
She's gonna still be competing, but yeah, they're calling her Unbreakable Ellie because she got hurt so many times and just had such bad luck. I felt so bad for her. Isn't she the one competing with her sister or something like that?
Yes, Becky. And
yes.
For the life of me, when they're competing, I cannot tell them apart.
Ellie's the taller one.
Okay.
See, that's literally
she's
how they
also
took me and my
younger.
sister apart too.
She's 7 years younger.
Yeah, which is crazy.
And, they look
Ellie's the taller one.
When we were chatting during both qualifications and team, I'm one of the Downies is on bars. I don't know which one it is. And I was which Downey does the aerial layout step out on beam? That's the one who's up now, and she just did it perfectly, and I think that's Becky. But yeah, Ellie will be in all-around finals because she had a really scary fall on floor, punched out of, or missed the punch out of her 2.5 to punch front, and punched right onto her head, and it sort of went and finished the routine, but just walked off and looked sort of concussed. But they checked her out and she was fine, and she actually went up and vaulted for Great Britain in their final event with not warming up, and did a really good Yurchenko double full, and then she was just out of event finals for vault. I think that was her. Was that her who was just out?
I think so.
Maybe.
I think so too.
So,
yeah.
She went and did these 2 vaults without having a touch or anything, and almost qualified after falling on her head. Which, let me tell you,
amazing.
I've fallen on my head. It is painful. It hurts. You're sore for weeks.
Ooh,
And the fact that she had a really good competition in team finals as well. So
yeah, I can't wait to see her.
She could be one to sneak up on the podium too. That'd be really cool to have USA, and Great Britain.
That would be, yes. I can't wait. But ladies, we are out of time, and we are starting to get a storm here again. I think it's been storming all day, but I want to thank you both for being on, and we're going to be back on Sunday, right?
Sunday.
Yes, and we have so much more to discuss. It's going to be
Way too much.
Oh, I know. I think maybe we can't do this every day because it seems like every day there's something new that we could be discussing.
I know.
If only this were actual career.
Women's all-round finals are tomorrow. You can live stream them on NBCOlympics.com at 3 p.m. If you don't want to.
If you don't have a cable login, you can try.
CBC channel.
Channel, and you can also do it. You can use a VPN. There are free VPNs out there. You can try using them. CBC, I think, has it.
What now?
I think CBC has CBC is the Canadian Broadcasting Company. I believe we have it without.
I don't know.
I think that's our sign that we're out of time. I want to thank you both again for being on my show, and we'll see you on Sunday. This has been Football in High Heels Presents. Thank you very much, and see you on Sunday. Bye.